Okay, here we are. HiPoint. A hand cannon. You know, I've got the HiPoint rifle. The action in that rifle is bulletproof. I'm telling you, it's just a heavy, well put together, very simple, heavy action. It appears, when you look at it, that nothing is ever going to go wrong with this thing. However, for the stock and the rest of it sucks. It's like a plastic. I mean, it actually started to melt on me with a hairdryer on low. I mean, it's a sucko stock. It really is. But for the money, you can't beat the gun. It's a good gun for the money. Well, this belongs to a friend of mine, a commander with the Coast Guard. And he said, I got a HiPoint. He says, and I can't find a holster for the damn thing. He says, other than the synthetic, cloth stuff. And he says, I hate it. He says, can you do something? I said, well, I'm sure I can. I said, but is that something you're going to carry? I mean, this thing weighs, it's got to weigh, I couldn't even tell you. All right? I got to weigh as much as 3 of my SIG 226s. This thing is a cannon. All right? Now, and the action apparently is the same. All right? Not just anybody is going to be able to rack this thing. I don't know how it would actually fire. The weight can be used to make it easier, or the weight can also be used against you when this thing slams back. He only paid $170 for it or something, which is a fair price for what it is. And if the action is as good as the action on the rifle, it's a good gun for the money. For somebody that can't afford to spend a lot of money, I would not tell them not to buy one. I may, however, tell them not to buy the 45 because I'm sure the 9 or the 40 will be just as satisfying and something they can carry up and above this thing. But if you got $500 or $600 to spend and you want to buy 2 guns, a rifle and a handgun, well, get their either 9 or their 40 rifle or the 9 or 40 in their pistol. Again, the 45, I think this is just, I'm not against 45s, I'm just against this 45 as a carry piece. Nah, I don't think so. Anyway, he wants me to make a holster for it, so I'm going to see if I have enough material around, because I hadn't gotten any orders in lately, because like I say, I'm using stuff that I had for some time now, because I don't do it for a living, I just do it for fun. So, we'll see what happens. Anyway, this is where we're at. He wants to have belt loops in it, and I can understand why with the weight of this thing, because if he does decide to carry it, he's going to need belt loop. So I got to make sure I give enough, so I have to have a lot of waste. So that's where I'm at here so far. Good pair of scissors. What I had done was first, because I use these for a number of things, I rounded off the tips, because this way it wasn't going to catch on anything as I'm going along, and I don't have to worry about cutting anything, first of all, or if I'm carrying them, I don't have to worry about getting stuck with them. So for that reason, I grounded. I had grounded off the edges. Also, you keep them sharp, and they cut right through Kydex, so why should I worry about using a razor knife when I can just use a pair of scissors? It's not like these cuts have to be precise at this point. So that's that. Doo-dah day. Now, he wants this two-tone. However, I've got a problem with that. I do have some black here that I had already cut because I was going to use it for another gun, which means I don't have enough of that black to make it two-tone. However, hold on. Sorry about that. However, I do have some of this black, which is also Kydex, but it's a little thin. So I will put it in the press just to see how it will come out. If I use it or not is another story. Like I say, this is a little flimsy, and depending on how big the design will depend. There's that train. It must be close to what? Yeah, it's 130. That's the one going back. Depending upon how big the design is, not meaning the physical size, but how big the actual cutout is, will depend on if this will work or not. If it's too big, this is just going to flinch right through. So I'll try that just to see what happens. So that's where I'm at. So for now, I am going to hook my press back up over there, and put the camera on the larger tripod so we can get that working, which I have to build an adapter for that. But clean it up over there a little bit first, because it's a mess. Well, I'm working on the sink and the house and everything else, so everything is just getting thrown all over the place until I'm done. Some people put it away right after. I don't do it that way. That's too easy. So, but anyway, over there is the press. So I got to clean that all off so I can get over there. Oh, and there's the spot scope also on that press, which I got to do something with. All right, I'll be back. All right, where are we here? I have no idea. Hello. Hello. Okay. So, between phone calls and everything else, real estate agents, you know, sometimes they're just a pain in the ass. They're worse than car salesmen sometimes, you know. But anyway, you didn't see it, but before I closed it up, as you did see, and then within seconds after I turned the camera off, I forgot to turn it back on because I was acting rather quickly. I wanted to get the black out of there. Get the black out. So I took it off, took the black piece out, which is around here someplace, and then put it all back in again. So I just have the gray. So let's see where we're at. Now, like I say, I usually have this double-sided tape on here to hold the foam in place, but because I have new foam coming, I peeled this off and it didn't get here yet, so it wasn't worth really doing. Alright, there we are. Now, that looks like it may be okay. I'm going to have to put some screws in it, but it looks like the tension and the fit, the detail is just about enough to make it do what I want it to do. This may be a little deep. I don't know if the Kydex is going to give enough for that. Down here is fine, but that may be a little deep, but we will see. So I'm going to bring it over there, let it cool for a minute, and I'll put a couple holes in it just to get an idea. And I'll turn the camera back on when I get ready to do all that. Alright, this is where I'm at so far. Hello. I just drill a couple small holes in it. I usually just throw a few screws in it real quick just to kind of hold everything in place for me. Everybody has their own way of doing it. I'm sure that's not how the professionals do it, but it works for me, so that's what I do. Gives me a chance to have the gun in it to find out how the retention is going to be. It gives me a chance to etch out how I'm going to want the holster to look or fit before I start drilling all kinds of holes. naturally these are holes that I will be using, but in this case Tom doesn't want the back clip on it, you know, so and at that point I can understand that's a heavy gun and he wants to try to keep it as close to him as possible, so he wants it so we can cut a couple of belt slicks in it. So we have one here and a little angle here, so it had a little cant to it. And then he wants to be able to feed the belt in it, over it, and out. So it's not going to be in the pants, but it'll be in the belt. All right. Or if he wants to feed it the opposite way, he can do that as well. So, but that's where we're at so far. So I'm going to put the gun back in it and see how it fits. And if I can get a good grip on it, I may have to. Where am I? I may have to cut this out a little bit more so that you can get your finger in there, so when you're grabbing the grip, you can get a good grip on it. You don't want to have to half grab it to grab it out. You want to be able to get your full hand in there to grip the grip of the firearm, so you're getting a full grip. You don't want to have to readjust your grip once you get it out of the holster. So I may have to cut that up a little bit and lose part of the trigger guard, but that's fine. That's not a big deal if that's the case. Alright, that's where I'm at so far, guys. Alright, see, this is what I mean. If he wants to grab the gun, see how that finger right there is not right? You follow me? So if I was to cut this up here more, still keeping the same amount of distance on that screw head, so coming up here and just up over this a little bit. So I just got to take out right there, just round it off. Then that finger will fit right up underneath there. So when he grabs his gun, he's there. All right, he doesn't have to grab his gun, pull, and then readjust. So that's where I'm at. So I'm going to bring that up right there. Okay, and then naturally this side will come up with it. And then we should be okay. All right, now we've got that pretty well set. I just got to run it through the buffer. And this, I just flattened this out a little bit more because I want the barrel to protrude evenly, nice and even. So I just flattened that out a little bit more. Now this, how I get kind of like that polished edge, I get that edge by putting it on the buffer. Buffer. So I'll go over now and I'll buff this out, and that'll give me that little buffed, rounded type, how are we here, edge that you see there. All right, and that'll put it all the way around. And then when I'm done, then I will at that point start putting the screws in that belong in here, the Chicago screws, or rivets. Now he likes the screws, so I'll use the screws. Well, there should be. Now, the only thing that I don't like, but it's not a big deal, that a little too much of the barrel, the muzzle, is sticking out. As a rule, I like the holster even with the barrel. Now, he said he didn't really care, because I had asked him, you know, where do you want the barrel? Do you want it actually closed in at the end? Do you want it open? Because now he says he likes to see the barrel, so I'm kind of assuming that's what he meant. But seeing that I am giving this to him, be happy. So, but anyway, that's it. Like I said, I still have to clean it up a little bit. I got to polish it up a little bit. Let me loosen this up a little bit. There we go. Well, little bits. There we go. I still have to just clean it, put it on the buffing wheel a little. You know, wipe it down. When I say the buffing wheel, I don't mean on the front piece, because that'll fade it right out. I mean just buff the ends this way, so that'll kind of smooth them out and it takes away that rough edge on the side there. But other than that, it's done. Now, he does want slots cut, but I'm going to let him worry about cutting the slots, only because I don't know how much of a cant he wants. So I'm going to leave that where he can do that himself. He knows how to use a Dremel. He has a Dremel. He can cut that out himself. It's not a big deal. So, alright guys, I'm done.